Hey, good morning, Dan. It's Sunday morning. Having a cup of tea. I've already gone out, collected the newspaper from Huff, which gets delivered, of course, still every day. Half the days it's there, half the days it's not. So somebody comes along half the mornings and boosts the paper before I get there, which is fine, I guess. Um, I've gotten coffee for Beth. Preston was working this morning at the drive-thru he opened. Um, it's funny, I didn't even think about the fact that today's Easter. Happy Easter. In either the schedule or in just sort of my daily thing. I had suggested to somebody, to Trevor, and Trevor's a small animal vet here in town. He's dating Kay, and Kay's been a part of our swim group for many years, and Trevor's now a part of our swim group. Anyway, I suggested to them that we go out for an open water swim today, and he responded that he doesn't swim on Easter. Um, I thought that I thought that kind of funny. Um, so, what does one do on Easter if not swim? Walk? Can you walk on Easter? Can you exercise on Easter? Do you have to just sit at home and think Eastery things? Anyway, uh, now I'm becoming disrespectful. I don't want to do that. Speaking of disrespectful, I just saw this thing in the paper this morning that I, I had to laugh at. So, Ellen DeGeneres is doing her show from home now, and she has this obviously this monologue bit at the start of all of her shows, but we're talking about as she's sitting in her huge mansion in California with the giant picture windows behind her, that she feels like she's in prison. This virus lockdown has made her feel like she's in prison because she's um, has to stay in the same place. She's wearing the same clothes every day, and the only people with her are gay. Um, I thought anyway, whether you think that's funny or not, apparently some people who are in prison took offense because their lives are so difficult because they're actually in prison, and her life isn't because she lives in a mansion. Um, I thought that was this reminds me of some of the conversations we've had about, what can you make a joke about, and what can't you make a joke about. So, being gay and being a woman does not give her enough credibility of being having had a difficult life to make fun of people with difficult lives. Um, so anyway, that just goes to show, no matter which class of people you were in, you could be a gay. You know what? I could just go on and on and on, but having to make this video private, so I am not going to go on and on and on. But you know what I'm getting at. No matter what your oppressed class you belong to, even if you belong to 10 different oppressed classes all combined into one, if you're rich and you live in a mansion in LA, you got no right to make a joke. So there. But that's not what I've come to talk about. God, I'm 4 minutes into this. I'm not even talking about anything yet. Um, I do want to quick talk about the weather. Oh my God, it sucks. 11 o'clock this morning, it's going to start snowing. It's going to snow until 2 a.m. Monday morning. We're supposed to get like 5 inches of snow today. That's pretty ridiculous. But living where I've lived since, let's see, when we lived in Pullman, maybe in Ellensburg to a certain extent, but I have lived in climates where it's not uncommon to expect snow on Easter. And you know what? I think that's bullshit. I, having spent some formative years in Georgia, Easter is supposed to be warm with flowers and green leaves and, Easter hats and dresses. That's just for the men. Don't even get me started on the women. Anyway, I'm bummed about the weather. I see your weather is not that much better, but it's a little better. Um, I wanted to make one more comment about golf. I forgot to mention this yesterday. So one of the other things I'm doing is, and you may have noticed this on our YouTube channel, but maybe not, um, is that I have been watching old, former final rounds of the Masters. So all the final rounds of the Masters are posted on YouTube. You know, I haven't gone past 1975 yet, like as in before 1975. But I've been watching them steadily from like 1985 all the way up through, I think I'm at 1996 right now. So it's a lot of fun to watch them. Colleen's been watching golf with me. She can actually tell you who Nick Faldo is. Greg Norman, the Shark. We've been talking about golfing nicknames. There's Greg Norman, who's the Shark. Jack Nicklaus is the Golden Bear. Let's see. What's that the big guy's name? Craig Statler. He's the Walrus. El Nino is Sergio Garcia. So anyway, Slammin' Sammy is Sam Snead. So we've decided that we need nicknames. Mike and I need golf nicknames. So if you want to work on that, be kind. That's all I can say. But anyway, we're watching all these old Masters. I've really actually been enjoying it because the swings that they had and the equipment that they used back in the 80s are about what I'm capable of. Especially when I can watch Jack Nicklaus's swing at 50 years old. That's much more relevant to my life than Tiger Woods' swing when he's 25 years old. So, on to your comments about the coronation video. Yeah, I know what you mean about him. It's funny because I actually had to go back and look at the section you were talking about, where he's talking about vitamin C and holistic medicine. It's funny because I just ignored that section when I read it the first time and had no memory, a little bit of memory of it, but not much, because I didn't really think of him. I just thought of this guy as being yet one other person out there just talking about it, rather than anybody that had a say, or certainly he's not a decision maker. So, I think of him as just somebody out there providing commentary, in which case there's a lot of what he said that I liked, as you said. But you're right, there's some of that stuff that just gets too far afield. And I don't really feel like it undermines or creates less of an impact on, with the other bits that he's talking about. Because I just simply, like I said, I just simply thought, well, that's silly, and that's a completely different conversation, so I'm just going to ignore that. So that's what I did. And actually, like I said, I had to go back and read it when you were talking about it to see what the hell you were talking about. But yeah, he does launch off into a... it's not long, it's like 4 paragraphs, but still, you're right, into this, well, maybe we would all be better off if we, considered holistic medicine as an option, and that would make us all healthier people. And I think he got really specific really fast from talking about sort of general philosophical principles to these very specifics, which I don't necessarily agree with. And it's funny because he says in here, I'm not telling you to run out right now and buy blah, 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 or any other supplement. Well, actually he is, I think. Whenever you say, I'm not telling you to do something, that's exactly what you're telling me, is to do something. And that's fine. He can tell me all he wants, but I don't have to listen. But I do like the other bits that were better, that I can then take and, can apply those to my life. So, also, you are, let's see, you were right. I did misquote your dad. I think I don't remember. This was a conversation that we had at Carew and Beth's wedding. And I just remember him being so excited and oddly uncynical, because maybe I just thought of him as being cynical about human nature when we were in high school because he was scary. And so, but now he's not scary, but he wants to talk. He's very cute because he wants to talk a lot about all the positive changes that are happening in the world, that are going to happen, and that all these young people are going to make happen, that I don't think are going to happen. And now here we are with this major shift in the world, and whether that's the mechanism, or anyway, that's what I was saying in my video. Who knows what the actual mechanism is for change in the world, and sometimes it's a mechanism which we don't expect. It's not, what's her name, Anna Thunberg, the gal from, she's Danish, she's Swedish, she's Norwegian, the young high school age gal who sailed around the world and shows up and talks about ecological things and environmental things. Anyway, I don't think she's going to be the proponent of change, but something like this certainly could be the proponent of change. But I see that the proponent of change is not usually, let's say that change that we need is we need to stop driving our cars. The proponent of change is not usually everybody just decides, you know what, my car's running fine, I can afford the gas, but I'm just not going to drive anymore. I'm just going to start walking from now on. I don't see that kind of thing ever happening. What I do see is suddenly the rubber market collapses. I'm just making this up. And there's no more tires. And suddenly we can't drive anymore. And that's the proponent of the change. It's forced on us. Maybe I'm being cynical about human nature, but anyway, I guess that's all I really had for this one. I do have another video to make today about two more, actually. One about, I'm pointing over here because there's a newspaper sitting there, about our governor. And I think I will make a private video about Mugby and how things are going there because I want to talk about that. And then, yeah, I guess that'll be it for the day. And then I can go and maybe get my sled out and go sledding. Yay! Go team. Okay, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.